All right, everyone. Hope you're doing well. This is Michael from Hummingbot, and we're here with another edition of Hummingbot Live, our weekly live stream series. The topic this week is Hummingbot Gateway, the new middleware. Well, it's not that new, but we've been refactoring a lot. So this is a new version of Gateway that helps you connect to DEXs and run automated strategies on them. My name's Mike, as I mentioned. So today we are going to go through and really introduce the new architecture of Gateway and explore some starter scripts for using Hummingbot to automatically fetch prices and automatically execute swaps and manage LP positions on DEXs. One note is that this is first in a few week series. So and it's mostly because the Gateway's been in a long refactoring process for a while. We introduced it a few years ago, but the initial design wasn't quite right given how much the DEX landscape has changed over the last few years. So we spent the last few months rebuilding it. And so this new version should kind of like be the clean new version that people can now build on top of. But it's still pretty new. So I want to take today and kind of like introduce the architecture, introduce how you can run some basic test scripts in Hummingbot, and then eventually, hopefully, in the next, as the weeks progress, we can start building more complex strategies and things that a real market maker would actually run. But just to manage your expectations, I think the new version of Gateway is much better than the old one, but it's still a developer tool for now. As much as I would like it to be something you can just fire and forget, and it automatically goes out and fetches arbitrage opportunities out there for you on various DEXs. The reality is that trading on DEXs, at least right now, you'll have to have a good understanding of how wallets work, how nodes work, how to resolve issues that might rise on various chains. All right. Well, hello everyone. I think that there's a few of you guys from the Hummingbot Discord. Let me start the event in Hummingbot as well. I think I got to do something there. Nope. All right. It's already started. Okay. All right. So to introduce, let me just quickly show you how to get set up with both Gateway and with Hummingbot. I already have it here, but basically what you want to is be in a position where Gateway is running like this in encrypted mode, and you see a Gateway Online badge over here. That means that Gateway is running encrypted is exposing its endpoints securely in the right URL, and Hummingbot, it's using the same certification the Gateway is using as well, and that's why Hummingbot can talk to Gateway. So to make this happen, I'm running from source, and for the time being, I recommend running Gateway from source if you're running the new version, because it's constantly changing. We will, while Docker will be the preferred method later on. Right now, it'll probably might be a bit jankier than source. So first, make sure that you're on the right branches. So we are currently in the process of finalizing the Gateway pull request that finishes the refactoring. This basically kind of standardizes connectors to the Solana DEXs, Radium, Meteora, and Jupiter, as well as the updates the connectors for Ethereum and Uniswap to the new standards, adds unit tests for all of these connectors, and kind of refactors a bunch of other stuff. So there's a lot of change. That's why this PR has 314 changed files here. Let me actually, 1 second, let me pull up the chat here. I should mention, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. But I'll kind of just want to kind of first explain what was changed, kind of demo how it works, how you can get set up, and then we'll get into running some test scripts later on. Let me take a break. These live streams are always a little tough because I feel like I have to keep on talking, but sometimes gotta drink a bit of coffee and slow down a bit too. By the way, I should mention that as a bit of a segue, our team right now, we're preparing for some travel. We'll be doing an offsite in Vietnam, and then also Fede and I will be in Singapore in the first, I think, the week of June 9th. So yeah, if you're in the area, let us know. We would love to meet more of the community. All right, so first, make sure you're on the right branches. So for Hummingbot, you want to be on this pull request. So feet / gateway 2.6. This pull request has some changes to match the changes in this gateway v 2.6 branch. This one here has a lot of changes from gateway 2.5 because it includes all of the unit tests and all of the kind of the standardization changes that were made to try to clean up the legacy architecture into the new one. Okay, so basically, so what I have here is I have gateway. This gateway branch and this Hummingbot branch are on these two pull request branches that match each other. So feet / gateway 2.6, and then core 2.6 here. These are all in the open source code base, so feel free to pull the branches and follow along as we're getting started. So on gateway, in order to install gateway, the first thing you should do is install pnpm install. If you don't have pnpm, you can install it by using npm. Actually, let me just make my screen a bit bigger here. Yeah, that's right. A little bigger than that. Yeah, this big. I'll make the size big as well. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So for gateway, first you may want to have to install pnpm. Let's do that. So pnpm is good because it's basically a package manager, very similar to npm, but it does a better job at resolving dependencies where there's like a shared dependency between two libraries. And I found that it reduces the size of your node modules quite a lot in Gateway, because a lot of time when you're using the SDK from various dexes or various chains, a lot of them are actually using the same underlying libraries, and so pnpm will resolve those dependencies and only install one version of that library. And I think especially because we know that people are deploying Hummingbot and Gateway on like Raspberry Pis, I think it's important to try to minimize the size of the images as much as possible. All right, so now that you've installed pnpm, let's go ahead and run pnpm install. This will install all the libraries. Actually, let me go ahead and I'll delete my node modules so we can basically do this from scratch. All right, so let's do this from scratch. So what this will do is now it's going to download and install all the node library dependencies. So now see, it's pretty fast now. It only takes 7 seconds. That's because it's faster than npm, and I've removed a lot of the old libraries that were used by a lot of the old chains and indexes the Gateway now has. Now in the new version, only make this a little bigger again. Let's see, yeah. So now there's only 2 chains, Ethereum and Solana, and I treat all the EVM networks, all the EVM chains, as disparate Ethereum networks. And I think this works because it's just like how you can use MetaMask on Polygon, BNB chain, and other EVM chains. It's the same concept. If you can use an EVM node, then and you can use EVM wallet, then this chain integration should also work for that network. However, if a chain requires a different type of wallet, you can't use it in Rabi or MetaMask, then it's not EVM compatible, and it would require a separate chain folder to be integrated. That's why I think for the time being, at least for the next one, possibly even two releases, I think that we should only try to review and merge in EVM compatible dexes and SVM compatible dexes on the respective networks. So I think it's fine to add like a network in because that's simply changing the the Ethereum template and just adding another network here, let's say for another EVM chain. So we could even add, I think there's actually a proposal to add hyper EVM. We can add Mega ETH and other EVM compatible chains. Similarly, I think on Solana, over here right now, we've only configured mainnet beta and devnet. I think we can add other SVM compatible chains that are now coming online, whether it's Eclipse or Atlas or others. I think Sonic, yeah, Sonic and SVM. Anyway, so it's unclear exactly what's out there, but overall, I think any chain that is SVM or EVM compatible should be addable. But I know that there is a proposal to add some non-EVM, non-SVM chains as well, and I'm not opposed to them. I just don't think that because the standards are changing. I plan to improve the interface between Hummingbot and Gateway in the next release to make it chain agnostic. Right now, there's still some dependencies on kind of like, the native token balances are hard coded, or the currency symbols are hard coded. There's some other hard coded chain stuff in Hummingbot. Because I want to remove that and make it completely chain agnostic. I think we should hold off for now on adding new chains into Gateway besides the other EVM and SVM compatible networks. Okay, but just as I mentioned, so for Gateway, once you've installed the libraries, you should go ahead and then build the project. So you can run npm build or npm run build. It doesn't really matter. You're kind of running the same command here, which is basically this build command. So this build command will compile the TypeScript into JavaScript. Now, once you've done that, the final thing you want to do is run the gateway setup command. This setup command will do two things. It will copy over your certs. So to do that, that's basically how you link your Hummingbot into Gateway. So for example, in Hummingbot, once you've installed Hummingbot, so I'll do that here, where this. So in Hummingbot, there's a generate certs command like this, and then you can define a passphrase. So I'm going to use A for this because that's what I always use, and then this will generate certs files in this in the folder that you stored Hummingbot. Now over here, when you do the run gateway setup, you can say I want to copy over the client certs, and then you just need to pass it that same directory. So I'll say users/fang/Hummingbot. So now certs. So now what this is going to do is this script will copy the certs from that directory into the certs from this directory. And so now that will actually resize my screen a bit better to make sure I'm centered. Okay, there, that's better. So yeah, and then that will actually copy over the certs correctly. I should actually stand. That's why I have a standing desk. I don't know why. I have a standing desk. I don't use it. All right, let's do the standing desk method. Okay, this feels better. Yeah, it's all better here. All right. Okay. That better? A bit more. Okay, perfect. That's much better. Okay, so now that we know how this all works, let's go ahead and I'll copy this over like this. Yes. Okay. So copy that over, and then let's see. Oops. Okay, yeah. So now the certs are copied over. They're the same in there anyway, but it doesn't matter. This other thing that we did was we copied over the sample configurations from the templates directory into our conf directory, and we copied over the default token lists for each chain into the conf directory. So before we get started, let's take a look at what's sitting in these conf directories, because it's when you're trading on dexes, it's always important to understand kind of like what's going on under the hood. So, so here's a conf directory, and we see that we have these YAML files, which are configuration files for each chain. For each chain, like Ethereum and Solana, and for each DEX, like Jupiter and Meteor. So what these YAML files define, like one for Ethereum, are some of the configurations that you'll need to use DEXs on that chain, to use this chain connector. So what this is saying is, here are the networks that are available. Each network has a chain ID, the node URL that you connect to, and this is very important because the node URL is basically how you send transactions to that chain. And so the quality of that connection, whether it's a public node or a private node that only you can access to, that really affects the quality of your experience. And so that's why this typically is a really important default configuration to get right. What we try to do here is we try to make available the best public node that we think is out there for each chain. However, if you're serious about doing DEX quant trading, you most likely have a private node for that chain, and we strongly recommend replacing this with your private node. At the very least, getting a private node from Alchemy or Anchor or QuickNode, it will help to improve your experience. Or Infura is another one. Yeah, I recommend putting in your private node. The other thing that this does is it defines the source of resolving token symbols addresses. Because when you trade on a DEX, the symbol is just a symbol. On a blockchain, every token is just an address, and there can be many addresses. So typically there has to be a dictionary that says here are here's the right the symbols for each address, and so that you know what you're referring to. So for example, for mainnet Ethereum, there might be many kind of ape tokens, but the one that when you're trading ape, you probably want to actually trade the one that everyone's referring to, and so currently there's a dictionary that Hummingbot maintains here. Now, you don't need to trust what's in the system. You can also access it by API or the sources as well. But what we try to do is we try to make sure that these lists are clean, and they're pulled from registered sources on like CoinGecko and so forth. Note that you won't have to add tokens to this list because this is not complete. You may need to add a token. So for example, for Ethereum mainnet, we've actually added this token, which is the Hummingbot governance token. This is probably not in one of the main lists that are out there, but it's our token, so we want to make sure that people can access it. So that means that when you're configuring strategies in Hummingbot, you can put in HBot, and Gateway will be able to resolve that to the right address. So these lists are something that you'll need to edit. What we do here is that we copy these lists from the templates folder into this conf folder here, but you should edit these lists if you are trading on the respective networks. Okay, so that's how the conf works. Now, that's why we have a conf for Ethereum and another one for Solana here. Note that the other configurations you can set are different for these two chains. That's because the way that you send transactions in Ethereum is different from how you send it in Solana. So you may have to set different parameters in one versus the other. So in the future, there might be other chains as well, and we expect that those developers might add specific configs to their own chains that define how it works, so that each connector can kind of really add their own custom integrations as long as they fit the schemas. So these schemas define what the response and request structure for the various endpoints exposed by gateway are. So so basically, actually, that's probably a good segue into actually running gateway and seeing how it works. So once you've kind of run gateway, run the setup command, compiled and built, now we can run gateway itself by running pm start and with our passphrase. So this passphrase should be the same one you used when you generated the certs, and that's what ties the certs process together. So I use A when I generated these certs, so I will put the same password here, and that will start. So note that I'm running in secured mode behind HTTPS endpoints, and over here now this says gateway online. Because I'm using the same certs and the same passphrase, Hummingbot can now talk to gateway behind an encrypted communications, and so that's why when it sends over messages, it's sending over securely. Okay, so now that we're connected, now let's take a look at the documentation to see what gateway actually looks like. To do that, because my browser doesn't have access to this source here, I'm going to stop gateway and I'm going to run it with this dev flag, which will allow me to go access the Swagger docs in the browser and interact it with it, and it just makes the development process a little bit easier. So to do that, you can just go to localhost 1588 in the docs, and so now this has different sections for the different types of endpoints that the gateway makes available. So, for example, we can look at the system endpoint. This is just shows you the configurations for a certain Solana or for a certain chain or connector. So you can get the configs for Solana, and you can fetch the configs for Ethereum like this. So this basically just fetches what's inside the config file for each chain, but you can also change them as well. So for example, if I wanted to update a value, you can plug in like Solana.priority fee multiplier, and you can change it, and it will actually change the value that we have here. So for example, we did this. Actually, we can go ahead and try it. Let's go and try it. Yep. So that changed this to 3. So and the reason we do that is there's also a gateway config command in the client that allows you to automatically kind of change it from the client as well. You can also fetch the pools. So the pools are important because we, for instance, for Radium, there may be multiple Ray Sol AMM pools. There's probably multiple Sol USDC pools because there's different AMM fee types, fee tiers, and we know there's many different kind of Sol USDC CLMM pools because there's different fee tiers. There's also different bin steps and other things like that. So because of that, what we allow you to do is in most of the routes here, you can define the pool address, or if you don't define the pool address, Gateway will look for a default. Will try to resolve the pool by looking in the config file. So what we hope is that we've added a few common pools here, so that if you're testing out Gateway for the first time, you don't need to look up the pool, so to speak, to just be able to trade. In the future, we actually might add a pool lookup feature to make this even better, so that if, let's say you're trading some pool that's not here, like let's say you're trying to trade Trump to Melania, for example, there'll be a kind of like a lookup process to try to identify the best pool for that. But currently, I think that this is a kind of just a bit of a workaround. But I do think that this allows people to define the pools here that they're the most interested in providing liquidity for trading, and not have to worry about kind of looking up the pool address every time or adding it into the Hummingbot configuration file. I'll pause a bit here. If there's any questions, I think let me check Hummingbot. There's a few questions, a few folks in Discord. Yeah, I'm also happy to kind of go over what you guys want to talk about. I want to just introduce it first, but basically, what I think I'll try to do is in today I'll just run a few test scripts, and then hopefully next week or the one after, then we can get into actually running some real strategies. But yeah, because there's a lot going on here with understanding how nodes work, understanding how the pools work. That's why I want to make sure that we can understand it properly. All right, sure. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's actually use one of these pools and one of these connectors as a standard. Let's start with let's actually start with Radium. Let's do Radium CLM actually. Let's do one. So let's try this one here. I think, and we can use this one as a reference for how we're going to look at it. Okay, so here's a pool that we're referring to. The pool ID is the address of the pool, and that is the Sol USDC pool in Radium CLMM. And then I think I'll try to find similarly. I'll find a pool for Uniswap. Let's see. I think I have AMM one. So let's go with Uniswap AMM. How about this one here on base, and then we can use it. So, and this is important because I would say for those of you who are maybe unfamiliar with how DEXs work, currently Uniswap has deployed V2 versions, V3 versions, and V4 versions, and they're on different chains. So they might be on Base, they might be on Ethereum mainnet, Avalanche, and so forth. So and I think Uniswap is trying to clean this up. It's kind of why I think the router kind of just tries to find the best route among everything for you, even if it's on a different network or something like that. But if you're a liquidity provider, you're always providing liquidity to one specific pool on one specific network, and so that's kind of why at least for Uniswap we have a fairly complicated config file right now where you can define for each connector type, AMM or CLAM, the pool address, and you can do that for each network as well. I'm actually not sure how to make it even less complicated than this, but unfortunately, this is the state of the world that we're in right now, at least on Ethereum. Okay, so for AMM, let's look at the base pool. So let's look at base. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, we don't have a position, but we can put one here. Actually, let's explore pools. Explore pools. Okay, so this is. Actually, it should show up here. Oh, here we go. Let's go to base. And so a V3 pool on base. Yep. So I think it should be this one here. No, actually no. We want V2. V2 on base. This one. Yes, this one here. Okay, great. So it took us a while, but now we actually know which pool we're even going to interact with in these. And so now I think we can start to actually use this to get a better understanding of what these pools are, and start writing strategies that will interact with these two pools on a programmatic basis. All right, so first things first. The first thing I'd like to do is just make sure after I installed at least on the gateway, that before you running gateway with Hummingbot together, I just want to make sure I can just run gateway on its own. That will minimize the number of dependencies I have. So the first thing, let's just go ahead and run gateway. So I'm running it in development mode like this. And so I just want to make sure I can just hit the endpoints in Swagger. So I'll go to localhost 15888, and I'll just I think we already did this already. The config endpoints work. There's also these connectors endpoints that tell you each connector, the trading types it supports, the chain that it lives on, and the network where that connector is available. So currently we have a few endpoints. Actually, we can also see this on the Hummingbot side as well. If you run the gateway list command in Hummingbot, this also basically shows you the same information here. So this will show you, for Meteora, for example, Meteora, we only have the clam connector. So that clam connector supports the clam schema and the swap schema. So what that means is that in gateway we have these schemas here. So so when it says Meteora supports a swap schema, what it means is that this Meteora clam connector should expose routes for quote swap and execute swap. And when it exposes those two routes, the request for quoting swap must contain these attributes, and the response must include these attributes. And these response and request schemas are actually used in the connectors folders when they actually define in the schemas. So that's why, and also I think you also use the test as well. So that's kind of how we try to make sure that each connector is fitting a certain standard. Now this connector also fits the clam schema. So what that means is that this clam schema it defines the endpoints for adding and removing liquidity to a concentrated liquidity range pool. So that means that when you fetch the info on a pool, that pool info response should have the base and the quote token, but also the bin step, the fee percentage, the active bin ID, and things like that. And I think this is actually very similar, whether it's like Meteora, whether it's Radium or Uniswap, they all have this type of attribute. Similarly, when you are adding liquidity or opening positions in a clam position, you need to define the lower price and the upper price and the amount of base and quote in each one. And so that's why actually we also have routes for quoting liquidity and quoting positions. For example, in Meteora, you can quote position. Where is my quote? Actually, I don't see the quote position swap anymore. Interesting. Yeah. Huh. Okay. That's wrong. Huh. Interesting. Oh yeah. I guess we don't have a quote position one for Meteora for some reason. But yeah, that's probably why I should only maintain one connector. Right now, I'm only maintaining Radium and Uniswap. So in the future, I'll probably look to have someone else in the community maintain Meteora and add to it. But because maintaining these connectors and keeping them up to date is actually quite a lot of work. Right now, like Uniswap, there's actually 3 separate connectors for Uniswap for the different routers and pools they have. So that's why, ideally, we have someone dedicated from the community who for each connector in the code base. I see a question: what is the best approach to fetch a market cap of a token? I would say just look at core market cap. yeah, just didn't rank it. So if you want a random token, if you need an address, you can just go to like CoinGecko or Gecko Terminal and look it up. But yeah. But I mean, I always say it's like it's as a trader, I think the market cap is definitely one signal, but yeah, there's many other signals. Okay, moving on a bit. So yeah, we can also see what chains are available here like this. We can see that for Ethereum, we can see the networks. But what I mean is, so for these connectors, what each one does is it allows you to interact with the dexes in a standardized way. So, for example, for Jupiter, Jupiter supports the swap schema only, because right now it's on an LP. You can't add liquidity. You can only swap through Jupiter. So Jupiter only has two endpoints: quote swap and execute swap. Radium AMM also has the same endpoints, and the request and response schemas for these two are identical, and that's because they're both fitting the quote swap schema, the swap schema. But Radium also has these other routes that allow it to fit the AMM schema. So, for example, we should hit all these endpoints. There are defaults for these endpoints established for them, and the idea is that these endpoints are all defined in the routes folder for each connector. So the developer can set exactly what the parameters are, and also what the defaults are as well. And as long as that this quote swap endpoint has what the swap schema expects in terms of parameters and returns the response it expects, then anything goes. So that's why here you can see that the response here is this says how much would it cost me to swap from 1 Sol to 0.01 Sol to USDC, and this is a quote given by Jupiter. Notice that there's the estimated amount in, versus the minimum maximum amount in, and also the estimated amount out, and the minimum amount out. Now, this might be different if there's sort of different slippage settings. So we should be able to change the slippage. Let me see actually, and get a different price here. So yeah, it looks like it's changing the estimated amount out here if I change the slippage. Okay, so that's how this works. And actually, like Jupiter, actually we might have to update this to I think the slippage should actually be reflected in a difference between amount in and the min or max amount in or out. But I actually just upgraded the Jupiter connector to the new version last night, so there might still be some issues there. Now we can do the same thing across other exchanges as well. So we can do the same thing at the Radium connector. Note that in Radium we can define a pool address. If we don't, it'll use the pools info in there to define the right swap. This one's taking a bit of time. Interesting. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So here's an answer. Got back the answer. So we get the quote swap endpoint for both the same amount. This one is 157, and for Jupiter, it's took a little bit longer. Let's see. This was 157 as well. But note that for Radium, this one actually is probably slower than hitting the Jupiter API directly. And that's because there might take a bit longer. And also this is go through RPC URL and kind of fetching directly from the pool, whereas Jupiter is just hitting the API. However, Jupiter, I think the API, they are starting to charge for it. So I think if you use the Jupiter connector, you'll likely hit their API requirements pretty soon. That's why I think when I upgraded the Jupiter connector the other day, I added I allow users to now add an API key. So if you do hit the limits, you can add an API key here for a paid plan and continue hitting the quote swap endpoints. But another possibility is if you're a developer, you can also kind of use the quote swap for Radium, and for Meteora, and even for other dexes to kind of like basically recreate your own kind of aggregator endpoints. So we also have execute swap. This one actually will execute a trade for it. We'll actually execute a trade. So we're not going to put the pool address here, but let's say we wanted to execute. Let me actually test this to make sure it works. We actually I do need a bit more testing because yesterday I had to upgrade the Jupyter connector. I think especially the buys weren't working with the old swap API. So I also took the opportunity to upgrade it because I think now they've kind of deprecated the SDK, and now I think the developer docs Jupyter wants everyone to use the API to do swaps. So I think let's try and do an upgrade. Let's actually try this to buy a token. Actually, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to actually at the same time I also want to see if Gateway supports these new tokens well. So I have a bit of this random meme coin, and I want to make sure that this token's address is well supported. So I'm going to do a few things first. So first, let me show you. Actually, this might be useful because I'm going to show how to add a new token into Gateway, and so we can start automating operations on that token. So this is a random token. So first, let me stop Gateway here, and then I will go into Gateway, into the conf list folder. I'll go to Solana, and I'll add another one here. So I'll add one to the very top like that. So I'll keep the chain ID the same. So this token is called vibecoin.fun. Okay, and then the symbol is Rick. Okay, and then 6 decimals, and the address, which is probably the most important thing, is this one here. Okay, so now we should be able to access the Rick token in Solana. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to use a different Solana URL because the default one that we're using is the Solana mainnet, the mainnet cluster, which will be probably too slow for real testing. And there's like a lot of bots in this chat today. If someone's watching for real, you guys like put something in the chat, so I know that I'm not just like talking a bunch of bots here. Like these all these like bots in the YouTube chat now. Jeez. Okay, all right. So let me look at my Solana, but we're gonna record this and make it available for posterity. And my overall hope is that people kind of like can overall kind of like get more familiar with how to configure Gateway for themselves. Whether using it for professionally, for personal use. I do think over time that, especially with like AI agents now, with the new version of Gateway, it'll be easy and easier for people to add connectors, and the more integrations it has, the more wallets you can add to it. I think the more powerful it becomes. Okay, so now we have my new URL. So let's go to Gateway again. Let's start it up, and then now we should be able to kind of really see what we have, and we can probably do some test strategies and see if we can automate some transactions on that Rick token that we have. So first, let us go to Gateway, and let's just make sure we can Gateway is reading that Rick token properly. Actually, we're not going to use Hummingbot for now, so I'll just put this aside. I'll exit Hummingbot. We'll get a Hummingbot probably at the end of the session, maybe like another half hour or so. But for now, I want to make sure that we can just access Gateway on its own first. So let's go ahead and look at our wallet. So let's see. So so we do have our wallets and our for Solana address. So we have this Solana address here. This is the same one where I own this Rick token, and I should be able to see the balance for that token by running the balance command. So let's go ahead and run balances. I think actually, I think this should actually work, because if I just hit like this, yep, there he goes. So it shows my RIC balance, and it's because even if you don't put any tokens here, it'll try to find any token that's in the list in your address. That's actually only the case right now for Solana. For Ethereum, I think it's much more expensive to try to find, if every token is on Ethereum, and so for Ethereum, I think right now it only, you have to actually define what tokens you want it to fetch. Okay, so we see our RIC token. We also see some Solana. So let's try to use the Jupyter connector and try to sell, try to buy or sell some RIC. All right, so let's do this. So execute swap. So we're going to so by the way, when you do this, and listen Swagger, there's a you need to pass in the wallet address you want to use, but for at least in Swagger, it'll automatically try to populate the wallet address with the first wallet of that chain that it has in your folder. So this is the wallet address. So I want to buy some RIC. Okay, quote token. Let's USDC or Solana. I'll use USDC. So RIC to USDC, and then so we are going to sell. Yeah, let's actually try to sell some RIC. Sell some RIC. Actually, before we quote swap, let's try to execute. We should always quote swap first. So let's go from RIC to USDC, and let's try to sell 100 RIC and see what that looks like. So we can indeed sell 100 RIC. If we did that, we would get, looks like we would get 3 cents back. That's not bad. That's not bad. I don't really need some RIC. It is going to cost us a little bit of gas. This isn't Sol, so this is a none, but it's pretty cheap. So let's go ahead and sell some 100 RIC and see what happens. So actually, I'll open like this so we can see what Gateway is doing over here. All right, so launching a trade in 1 or 3, 2, 1, execute. Okay, so that was a quote. Okay, never mind. That was just a quote. Let's do the actual trade. Okay, 1, 2, 3, execute. Okay, one thing I do need to do is get rid of this pool address string here. Actually, I'm gonna change that because we don't want to do a pool address when it fall here. So let me actually change that in the code. What was that? Execute swap in Jupyter. So we don't want to. Change this one. I don't know why we do this description here. I don't think this makes it a little simpler. This is a post, so yeah, here we go. Oh. Okay, let's try that. Okay, all right. So now it's correct. It's going to pass in pool address like this, so that it's because Jupyter does not need a pool address or does not expect a pool address. Okay, so we're going to sell our 100 RIC again, and this time we should actually see the trade hopefully go through. Oh, here's some people. Try PI blah blah. Oh, okay. He wants it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see. Sorry. Yeah. GBIC question. yeah. I would say like if you just want a market cap, just get it from like a Dex screen I would probably recommend CoinGecko API. It's probably the best one. So the overall I would say the best way to think about Gateway is that it's a good way to access direct DEX information and access direct DEXs. So I think if you want to get like historical liquidity, that might be something you want to use Gateway for. Right now, I think Pool Info, I think for Meteora actually, it does have kind of the liquidity distribution of a pool, so you can use it for that. Or I think you want to use it to automate something. Yeah, when you basically want to do like to do a DEX trading, because right now there's a lot of parameters for kind of like landing transactions essentially on Solana and Ethereum. I probably still need to make this better, but overall, I think you should be able to land transactions using Gateway very reliably and control every aspect of how you're sending the transaction and have it work for across all the different DEXs, even if the inputs are exactly the same. So we're not quite there yet. So it basically should act like a Hummingbot connector, as in it standardizes all the inputs to the exchange. But just like for Hummingbot, if you want to fetch data, you probably want to have access to data in different sources. And I think CoinGecko right now, in my opinion, is the best at kind of aggregating information across lots of different DEXs and chains and making it available in a standardized way. Okay, so let's go ahead and sell some RIC. So here like this. So now what it's doing is using Gateway and just sending the transaction. This time it worked, but if it didn't transact in time, it would step up the priority fees according to the configurable fee assumptions you have, and we'll try to use a higher and higher fee and try to get the transaction confirmed. So that one did work. So I did sell some RIC, and afterwards we can look at the transaction. It looks like it's still using signature. Interesting. Okay, wait a second. This is not right. Yeah, this should be returning. This should be returning TX hash. Oh, no, actually no. So never. That's correct. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I keep forgetting whether Hummingbot is looking for the signature field or the TX hash field. I recently centralized everything to signature. So now, this is actually correct. So the signature is correct. So we can also look up the signature in SoulScan and get more details about it. So let's take a look. Okay. Yep. So we did swap 100 RIC for USDC like this, and so we paid a very small amount of gas for it, and so that worked. All right. Now I also want to test making sure that we can do the opposite and buying 100 RIC. The logic for buying versus selling is actually slightly different. There's a different method called exact out versus exact in. And so, sometimes like this actually may not work if there's no kind of like exact out liquidity. So that's why typically I would say I recommend if you're doing a swap like this, you probably want to just reverse it and swap and sell USDC for RIC instead of trying to buy RIC for USDC. But if you're doing kind of like arbitrage and those kind of things, this also might happen. So that's why I think that right now, at least endpoints are set up like this. But your strategy may want to handle this differently and try to only do kind of like sell transactions, which are basically exact in and not exact out. But that worked. We actually did swap some RIC. So I guess there was a route available. Actually, this buy route should have been one I looked up beforehand, but it did work. So let's take a look at the transaction again, and we can see that we actually did buy. It looks like this actually did use some routing here. So that's why the routing was a bit expensive, and we paid more in routing here than what we did here. Okay, all right. So now let's go ahead and and now we verified that these work here. Now we can go and try to use Hummingbot to try to do the same thing, and try to fetch price data and also automate trades on Gateway. So do that. As you recall, yeah, we're going to use these this radium pool and this clam pool, and we can do that's because we can do the same trades on those as well. We can do buying and selling. Actually, yeah. Before we go at it, let's actually try that. Let's verify that we can both fetch prices and execute swaps on the pools that we're referencing first before we do it through Hummingbot. So this Sol USDC pool is the radium pool here. So let's go ahead and try to get that Sol USDC, and we know that this will resolve to this pool because in radium, in the radium config directory, or in the radium config, so it says Sol USDC for clam is this address, and this address is the same one here. So let's quote a swap. Let's quote, let's see, let's try selling 0.01 Sol. Okay. And so that, according to Radium, is 1.5757. So we can go and execute. Do we have, pretty sure we have that much Sol. Let's see. Yeah, we do. So let's go ahead and execute the swap. Yep. So you note that here we can define the pool address if we want to, but if we don't, it will try to find the default one. So we're selling. Okay. So that actually failed, and that failed because it received too little. Okay. All right. So yeah, this actually I have had issues, honestly, with the clam connector and Radium. This is probably because of slippage. I think basically what happens is if you put an amount that's too small like this, it might fail even if the quote works. So I bet the quote actually does work. 1 second, the quote here works. So yeah, the quote works here. But I think if I did this with 10% slippage, this actually might go through. So let's see. Yep, that goes. So yeah. So the reason that we had to do that was because for very small amounts, this is like $1.60. I think the 1% slippage triggered it, and that's why it went through like this. So I think in the future, yeah, we can probably improve the error handling here. For example, previously, let me see. So this one went through, but I think the 1% slippage one, when I did that, let's see. Oh, actually, that one also went through. Yeah, so sometimes that was probably like a temporary spike thing, where sometimes like the quote, result in higher slippage and the transaction didn't go through. But we should actually try to handle that a bit better anyway, and not try to do that in the future. So we did sell some. Now let me actually try to do a buy here as well, because I think the buy routes always hit a different route from sells, and I think we always find that the buy routes are more problematic because they sometimes don't work. This one actually did seem to work. So you can see that. Note that it's trying 5 times here. What happens is it will try with the same hash 10 times, and once that happens, what it means is that hash, the transaction probably was using too low of a priority fee, and so in Solana you basically just drop the old one. You create a new transaction with a higher priority fee, and then just keep on sending a new one. So that's why the hash will change when you update the priority fee. Okay, so now we verified that this one works. So now let's go ahead and do basically use this in Hummingbot now. So in Hummingbot, when you interact with one of these like pools, one of the dexes, either something that supports any dex that supports a swap schema, you can use the. I recommend the first thing you should do is use the sample scripts to test how it works. So these are found in the scripts directory. And so we have 3 sample scripts you can use with Dexys right now. In terms of Dexys that support the swap schema. Those are AMM data feed, AMM price, and then AMM trade. So AMM data feed will use a quote swap endpoint and just basically ping that endpoint every tick and generate a data feed for you. So I think right now it just prints a status, but you could ask it to save it to a CSV file and generate information about basically just getting prices. We can probably improve this in the future and allow you to kind of like pull more information from Gateway. For example, I think that in a future release, I'll probably create a new version of this that allows you to create an LP data feed that pulls information about a pool, so you can save information like kind of how much fees it has generated, how much liquidity is in the pool, on a historical basis and so forth. But right now, because we're just starting off, these scripts are really intended more as demos to show what Gateway can do. So right now, let's go ahead and create a data feed from the Radium pool and just try to have something that can track this price over time. So what we'll do is, and this data sheet is very simple. It's basically just hitting this quote swap endpoint and it's generating data feed. So to do that, first, let's make sure we're running Gateway in encrypted mode. This will allow Hummingbot to talk to it. So now we can see, now it says Gateway online here. And so let's go ahead and use Gateway to, use Hummingbot to configure this strategy. We can see the strategy itself by looking in the scripts directory. I'm sorry, this is Gateway. So we can look in the script directory and we can see this AMM data feed example here. So I recently updated this one. This before it had just like a few hard-coded configs. Now what I updated in this, I created this configuration setup so to help you, because these scripts are really intended to help new users set it up. So to set it up, we can go to Hummingbot and let's use the create script config command, and we can pass in AMM data feed example. So first we want to pass in the connector name. Now we want to pass in the connector names of the connectors we've already connected. So if I could use Jupyter, but I haven't connected Jupyter yet. So instead I'll pass in the names of the connectors I already have. So I'll pass in Radium COMM on chain Solana. That's right. Network metadata. And so the amount that we want to use, this will determine how much we use for the data feed. And so yeah, I'll just use 1. And we can define up to 3 trading pairs. So I'll use Sol USDC for now, just one trading pair, and then I'll save that as an example. And I'll call it example 530, 0530, which is today's date. This will help us find it later on. Okay, so after we do that, we can already see the file that was generated by going to, this is in Hummingbot, the conf directory, and we can go to scripts, and we can see that there's a new file called AMM data feed example 0530. And so this has the connector, the chain, the network, and so forth, and we can and these parameters match what the script expects. So scripts, you can also add your own scripts and define your own parameters very easily here. Before we run the script, let's take a quick look and understand what it's actually doing. So first, it's running the init command is loading the trading pairs. It's loading this as a data feed, and then it's going to basically pull the price data from this object from Gateway. So see, so I think Fede actually wrote this, but basically it's very simple. It's simply just gonna take the pairs you've put in, and it'll fetch the prices for them, and it will put them into status. I think storing them. We should probably improve this and put this into and putting this into a CSV file. Actually, let me try to do that with Claude Code. Actually, let me do this. Let's try some Claude Code here. Okay. Yeah, sort of in data. I think we have a data directory. Yes. No, actually, okay. Actually, never. No params. I'll just say in data like that. Okay. The name. Oh yeah, accept string as name, and then I think in here, add file. Yeah. So just to recap a bit, currently the data feed example, fetches the price from gateway for the connector you've defined, and the data feed. This data feed class currently just manages that cycle, fetching the data, looping every time. But I think right now it just displays it in status. So it does do a few things. It checks that the network's online, kind of manages the fetching of the data. But right now, I don't think it actually does anything with the data. I think it'd be more useful if it stored it in a local CSV file. So I asked Claude Code to make that change and update this data feed example so you can define the file name and then we can run this. I think that'll make the script a bit more useful because now we can run it and it'll generate the data for something. Oh no, there's already a data directory. It's already a data directory. What is it doing? I think it's already a data directory. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I guess you can create it. Doesn't work. It doesn't exist. Then, wait a second. What is it adding this data collection stuff? Wait a second. Is that right? I feel like the data feed should be adding it into. Interesting. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess, yeah, I guess the data feed, you don't want it to save it. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, continue. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Is adding the CSV functionality into the script example, not into the data feed itself. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, add some buffer status into the status. Okay. So I have been using a lot of Claude code, actually. Creates it in the current working directory. Now, actually, script should use existing data in. I think this is already created. Is it created by default in Hummingbot? Let me check. Okay, no. Okay, actually, I think this is correct, actually, in the current working directory. Okay. Okay. All right, that should work. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and test it out. Oh, actually, I think I need to create the file name. Oh no, it's optional. Okay. Okay. No, yeah, never mind. It's optional. I think we don't need it. So let's go ahead and test it out. Because actually no, we do need to generate. Yeah, actually, because yeah, let's generate the file name because yeah, we do need a popular file name there. So I'm gonna get rid of this one. Actually, I'm gonna get rid of all of my examples here. I'll get all of these, and we will start from scratch. So file name, I'll just yeah, okay. Try that. AMM data for example, and let's go ahead and run it. Actually, one thing I'm going to do, let's run it with the quick start command because I think it'll be easier to do later on and to show you. So basically, with the quick start command, we just need to pass in the name of the script. So this one is like this. Oops, AMM. And then we need to pass in the name of the file. So like that. And this will auto start Hummingbot with that script and the config file. Okay. That also means that I should activate Hummingbot. Okay. All right. We got an error. So that probably means that there's something wrong with the script that I need to change. So let's see. So conf logs. Here we go. Got some binary errors. Token price object has no. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's right. Yeah, that's right because yeah, this is I know. This is actually. I thought it fixes actually. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. The data feed example. Huh. Why does this work? It's actually working with me today. Okay. All right. Let me ask Cloud Code to fix this. Let's see if Cloud Code knows how to fix this. Here we go. Yeah. That changes the other day, so that's why. Yeah, this is why I think the gateway is still a bit in the works. Is right now. One question, yeah. I think GB asked with 2.6, is it possible to use a grid strike controller? No, no, because the grid strike controller is really designed to be interact with order book exchanges. So gateway is really designed for AMM dexes, and so I think what you really want to do, I think at least right now, is use either very simple strategies, and I'll show you in kind of future live streams. Very simple strategies that allow you to simulate limit orders on a DEX, or I think you want to use kind of native DEX strategies like AMMs and LP strategies for. While you can kind of try to translate order book strategies like grid type strategies to DEXs natively, you probably don't want to do so without some modifications. And I think you'll see this if you kind of like, I think if you watch this live stream in the next few weeks, because I think you can actually place the same type of strategy and take the same risk and earn the same type of rewards using grid strike, but do so using essentially LP ranges. And that'll be better because then you're using the DEX natively instead of trying to kind of like do something in order book and try to force it into the DEX environment. And so it's like, in theory, you can kind of like try to do grid strike or try to do grid with like DEXs, but it's just with the AMM DEXs like Jupyter or Meteor or Radium, it's just not really possible. Okay. All right. Fix error. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Oh yeah, I must have just. I think I must have just had some weird errors here in this example. Yeah, I think that's probably why AI write this code earlier as well. So hopefully I fixed it. Let's go ahead and exit, and we can try to run it again. Okay, so yeah, it is running some swap quotes. So we run status live. We can see that the data feed is being generated. And so, and hopefully this is working. It's supposed to generate a data feed in the data folder, which it looks like it is. And it looks like, yeah, there is this SQLite folder, SQLite DB being generated here with this. Actually, it saved CSV. Oh, it looks like it is. This is a CSV file. Okay, looks like they're actually doing CSV files. Okay, I think I wanted to do. I wanted to actually do CSV and not SQL. SQL's fine too, but it's. I feel like harder to analyze. Let me actually see if that's what the issue was. So it is saying it is doing a CSV of some kind. So let me actually take a look here. Oh, yeah, okay, it is. So yeah, yeah, right. It looks like it is doing both the data feed and the CSV. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so it is fetching the price. So here we do have the generated data feed of of the yeah, basically for radium here. So yeah, so I think that there's probably a lot more you can do with it. Right now, it's just yeah, it's getting the buy price, the sell price for the order amount, and the mid price. So yeah, so you basically have the tooling to basically build a data feed from one of the gateway AMMs. I think I'll probably try to make this a bit more robust and add the LP data because I think that's probably more interesting than price. But I do think that at least right now you could basically build a historical data feed using Gateway. Okay, so I think I'll leave that change. I think adding that CSV was an improvement over the prior data feed, and so we'll leave that here. And now let's also just make sure we can do the same thing for and do the same for trading as well. So let's go ahead and I'll skip this one. This is actually a simpler version of the data feed where this is just kind of getting one price as opposed to feeding the prices. But let's go ahead and try this one, this AMM trade example, which allows you to automate a trade on a DEX when the price is higher or below a certain target. So we'll do the same thing, and we'll create the script config, and we'll use the AMM price example one. So this one, as I mentioned, we'll use the same one again, Radium CONM on Solana, on main and beta, Sol USDC, and for the price, I think price right now of Solana is like 160 or something. So let's go 160, and then when the price is above. So yeah, basically I want it to be trade when the price is above. So I'll do true, and then do you want to buy or sell? Let's do sell. I think so. We can sell some of the Solana that we just bought. Okay, so or amount 0.01. Yes. Okay, so let's try that, and then we'll put 0530 for today's date, just like before. All right, so here we can see in configs, we should be able to see a new one, which is AMM trade example. Here we go, and let's try and run. Chibi says that Hummingbot is only one with self-hosted wallet and robust enough. Yeah, that's fair. I think I would say yeah. Right now, it's yeah. I think it's I do think over time Hummingbot can be a great solution for what you're trying to do, GB. I apologize right now because it's still very nascent, but I think that's why I'm trying to just standardize all the interactions right now with wallets and with dexes. Because there's actually a lot of DEXs that want to add integrations to it, but I want to make sure that before they start piling on in various integrations, that we actually have a clean interface for like defining, like stuff like this, like fetching prices, executing transactions should be like very very standardized, so that then people can add different networks and different chains, but I would expect them to all work the same way. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue our test and make sure we can automate a trade on one of these Ajaxes. So yeah, I have the config here, I have the quick start, and I'll feed it in and try to start the strategy. Invalid strategy. Okay, all right, that was wrong. So what did I do? Okay, AMM trade feed example is not a strategy. Thank you. That was actually a very, very good error, because better than the stuff I normally see from Hummingbot. Okay, all right. So that is the right name of the strategy. So now it's going to try it. So getting the quote. getting the price. The price is 158. So actually, now it's actually doing the right thing because I told it to buy when the price is above 160, and so right now the price is not above 160. It's 159. And so actually, let's go ahead and stop it, and we'll change this to let's see. Let me look up the current price. Actually, I know we know what the price is, so it's 159. So let's do 159. Let's do 159. So basically, we only want to buy if the price is above 159. Actually, maybe we just sell. We should probably sell. Oh yeah, let's do it. We'll buy if the price is actually this is right. This is right. Do I have anything of sold? Okay, I do. Okay, yeah. So let's actually do this. Let's do a bot like this. I'll do this. I'll sell when it's above 160. So actually, the same bot we had before. So yeah, let me try that again, and we'll just leave it running. And then because I wanted to actually show what you can do with Gateway, and I think this is actually a plausible use case, which is right now, yeah, basically it's a limit order. You know, like sell 0.01 SOL when the price is 160, but the price currently is at 158. So right now, actually, you know what? Damn it, this is not right. This does not seem to be right because right now it should actually be getting quote already, but it's not. So let me exit this and test this, make sure this is actually working properly. So let me set this 158. We should actually see this trade, or should I do a buy? Actually, I think I want to buy false, but we should actually see a buy immediately because the price has triggered. Okay, got it. Okay, so that does work. Yeah, because the price is above. I probably need to improve this to make sure that this script is actually polling and waiting for the price every time. I haven't done a lot of testing with this trade example one, but I think that this last one worked where currently the price is above the trigger price, and it just went out and it did a trade. so yeah, mission accomplished, I guess. Now to make it useful, we probably need some testing to make sure that if the price actually rises above the price, it does work properly. I think this does work actually. I think that yeah, it is in this init command. So actually, I'll try this. Let's try making it very tight, and then we can try to evaluate if this really does work. So let's try to do 159 exactly, 0.0. 159.0. So to make it super clear. So if the price does rise by even 0.02 cents, there should be something in the market. Okay. All right. Well, we can leave this running and kind of see if this works. But basically, I think now I would say, yeah, I think you should have a good understanding of how the data feed example and the trade example. And actually, I do want to do one thing, which is I want to show you how the same thing can work on Uniswap as well as on Radium. So let's just as we wait for this limit order like strategy to run, let's go ahead and configure our Uniswap connector. Just like before, we want to make sure we can just access the connector directly without this. So actually, I might going to need to stop this because I need to, kind of like I want to interact with the with Gateway and in dev mode here. So I'll stop it. I'll rewind Hummingbot Gateway in dev mode so I can actually access this over here. Why? Because I want to interact with the Uniswap connector. So for Uniswap, so just like before, we can quote a swap, and as I mentioned before, we are going to be using this particular pool in Uniswap. This ETH USDC pool here, so we can get a price from that pool by fetching. Oh, this is mainnet. Oh, yeah, I should mention this is mainnet. So this one uses the Uniswap router, which right now I've only configured for mainnet. I think in the future this will likely be hitting Unichain or something like that, doing the routing. But if you use, currently Uniswap is just the mainnet router. If you want to interact with this, which is the V3 pool on base, you probably wanted to do this. Actually, this is the V2 pool. Yeah, the V2 pool on base. This is the V2 pool on base. This is the one you want to go with. So we can do this, and we can check out the pool info and get the pool info and match the address here to the address here. Now we can also quote a swap in this route. So with USDC selling 0.01 SOL or 0.01 ETH, 0.1 ETH should result in this price. Any questions on YouTube? Okay, and then let's go ahead and execute that swap as well. Do I have this amount? I do. USDC WETH. Okay, yeah. So let me sell some WETH or buy some WETH just to make sure that actually works. So execute swap, base sell. Okay, got it. So let's see. That should work. Move it over here. Transaction sent. Succeeded. Okay, so yeah, so as you can see, we're using the exact same parameters for Uniswap as we are for Jupiter and for Radium, and so that's kind of why it's like, yeah, once you set this up correctly, you should be able to kind of like just swap in your DEXs and run the same strategies across the board on them without any changes. All right, so let's update take a look at our Solana strategy. Oh yeah, we stopped it, but yeah, we probably could have kept on this one running, and yeah, it probably would have hit the price if it hit 160. But now that we can do that, let's go ahead and create another version of our AMM, this one, but do so using the Uniswap connector instead of Solana. I have already added my Uniswap connectors here. So if you type in, let's say, gateway list here, this got me offline. Yeah, let me do gateway. Turn gateway back on over here, so we can load up here, and then now we can check out gateway list. Yeah, so we can see that we have Jupiter, Meteor, Radium, and all these Uniswap ones, and then we have. So gateway balance shows you the ones you currently have connected. Right now, I have. So right now we're connecting to a DEX like this. This is probably something that we will look to improve in the next version of Hummingbot. We chose during 2.6 to really try to standardize gateway. So now gateway, the routes are really clean. They're standardized for every DEX and every chain. In the next release, we'll probably try to improve this aspect here, where right now you have to connect to a DEX, which is why when you run gateway balance, it's kind of printing the same balances for Radium, for Meteora, and for Jupiter. So what you really want is, you want to connect your wallet, and now you can see the balances for that wallet across any network that you care about. So that's why I think the next version of Gateway will try to focus. The next version of Hummingbot will try to focus on the Hummingbot improvements to Gateway, improve the Gateway commands, the connector interface, so that we can kind of take one thing at a time. But the good news is on the Gateway side, the integrations are very clean now, and they're kind of ready for external contribution. So right now, I'll show you the swap kind of scripts, and I think next week we'll go over the LP side of things and how you can start standardizing, for standardizing LP functionality for the gateway connectors. But today let's wrap things up, and I'll go through the AMM trade example script for Uniswap, so you can see that we can do the same thing that we did for Solana and try to automate a trade. Actually, I'm going to start that other one again. Let's start the other one again. What's the price of Solana right now? The price of Solana is, let's see, 158.62. So let's actually bump that up a bit more. Let's try to get 158.7. Okay, so 775. Okay. All right, so let's do this, and even if the price hits 158.75, we should see a trade. Oh, actually, it does happen. Okay, we hit 158.9, so we actually did do another trade here. Yep. All right, so done. Actually, but that was not quite the test we wanted. So let me exit again. I'm gonna raise the price again to 159.0, and then we'll do that again. I want to see it actually not do a trade immediately and see. Okay, now the price. Okay, so now let's run for a while, and I want to see if the price actually if it actually does a trade, or if not. So actually, let me ask Claude. If I run AM trade example, and the price is not high, doesn't meet trading threshold initially, but does 5 minutes later, will the bot execute a trade? Let's ask. So yeah, I should also add something here to see the current price. Okay, yeah, that's a very bad status message. Okay, all right. So yeah, before we move off and finish finishing that with the AMM price trade example Uniswap, let's actually improve this example, because like this is not very descriptive. I think it will actually do a trade if the price hits 159. But the status command is just not very visible right now, and so I think to me this is really the power of Hummingbot. You can define the exact process you want, and try to clarify improve it, or give yourself more data and so forth. So let's see. So yes, okay, I see. Okay. Currently, status just says checking price. Improve the status and logging so that it shows current price versus threshold. That's much better. I should probably just go full screen when I do live streams, because I'm used to working in this like two kind of screen mode, but I think for live streams it's a bit overwhelming. No one can probably see. I'd be bored as hell too if I was watching these live streams and just like watching some guy code, in 2 screens at a time. So in some ways, I kind of like doing live streams with AI now, because it's not me doing the coding; it's really the AI, and so it kind of allows me to like just like actually I can answer questions and try to explain things and actually interact with people. So I do feel like AI just makes my life a lot better, honestly. Okay, all right. So it did improve it. let's see here. It's still not going. So let's actually stop this thing and run the new version of it, which should incorporate the help that from Claude. Okay. Okay, got it. So so now it looks like it's a little bit better. Like status. Okay, status is we can use status live. You know, so wait, no, this is bad actually. Wait, what the? Waiting for price to rise. Yeah, you know, I feel like this should be checking the price. Yeah, okay. I feel like this should be updating the price. Yeah, no, it should be putting the updated price in status. Yeah. Print. Add this output to. This is right. I don't think it understands this whole thing. Oh yeah, okay. No, actually, I think there's actually a bug. That's right, because this should actually be doing this in status, but it's not. So, let's see. Okay. Status says currently checking price and doesn't print below. But it is checking the status. Are you sure it's checking price each tick? Yeah, it's possible this AMM trade example actually only checks for the price at the very beginning. It doesn't actually loop every time. It's supposed to actually trigger a trade, you know, even if the price rises after the fact. So yeah, it looks like it is. It does think there's something like this. There's an issue here. So trade in progress. Yeah, I don't know what that's going on here. But this is the kind of issue that I think Claude Code should be very good at solving, because it's just simple Python. So there should be lots of examples of this kind of stuff out there they can reference. So, yep, fix it for me. Thank you. Okay, got it. Okay, now it looks like it did something. So I'll try to stop this thing and try to stop and try to stop again. Okay. Okay, so let's try the new one again. Okay, so now it looks like it's working, because I see it should be logging like this, and then if I do status live, okay, so now it's logging every second. Actually, here I should actually do something that slows down, because we probably don't want to check the price like all the time like this, otherwise we'll burn through our rate limits. So let me add something to check the price every interval. Add a param. Add a interval param to AMM price feed that defines how often we check for prices. Default to 10 seconds. So add to the example, config. Okay, all right. Okay, added it. Still adding. But if you're doing scripts with Hummingbot, I highly recommend using using AI agents. My favorite right now is Claude Code, but I think Codex or Windsurf or Cursor can also do a pretty good job on this stuff. But there should be many examples out there, and so if you start with one of the base scripts and you ask Claude or OpenAI to help you revise it, I think it should do a pretty good job. Okay, so let's just try it again, and then we can see what the price is of Solana. Yeah, looks like it's still below 160, right? Let's see, yeah, below 158. So we put our target at 159. So let's run it one last time before we run the Uniswap one and get a quote. Okay, yeah. So currently, this is. Yep. Okay. Okay, got it. So yeah, so now see, I think now we have a final version of, what our script should be. The status is a little better. It's gonna check every 10 seconds. We're gonna, and the status is pretty helpful. It tells you exactly how often it's checking. So this is basically limit order. It's gonna execute the trade when the price hits a certain level. Actually, I guess this is what we call stop market, is the parlance. But we built this in in 5 minutes using Hummingbot, and we kind of modify the AMM trade endpoint to do something very similar. But we should do the very similar with anything out there. In fact, let's go ahead and do the same thing, but for Uniswap, and we can run it at the same time. So normally I would advise running these bots as separate Docker containers where each one is segregated. But for demonstration purposes, I'll just start the same bot. I'll just create a new instance here, and we can run the same strategy here, and then we can just create a different config example. So I think the easiest way to do that would be just to go into the scripts example directly and just copy the previous one we did, this one, and we'll open terminal, open it, duplicate, and we'll copy this one. Okay. So we have a Uniswap one. So let's go Uniswap AMM. I think it's when we have base. Oh, sorry. So Ethereum base, and we'll do WETH USDC. Target price 25. What's the price right now of Ethereum? Let's get 25.50. I think it's a good price, and the amount is that. And then we sold earlier, so let's do buy now. Right? Yep. Okay. Is buy? It's true. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll buy if the price hits that level. So let's see here. Yeah. So here that's right. So now we can do the exact same thing, but we can try to run a different bot on a different pair. Okay. So another indication that I need to activate my Hummingbot environment, and I can run the script now. Okay. All right. So this one should be working as well. Yep. Okay. So this one looks like it's fine too. Yeah. So this one. Oops. Okay. Actually, no. This one is not working. Okay. This is not working because this current price we're getting is probably inverted. So let's stop this. This probably is a bug. Okay. Now stop this, and let's actually check. This is probably a bug with Uniswap because this price here should be 2,500, but I think I'm getting the inverted price from Uniswap right now. I'm getting it's probably the pool. This particular pool is actually USDC WETH, and so it's getting that price instead of actually properly inverting the price from Uniswap. So just show you guys it again what it looked like. I'm kind of embarrassed that this actually passed the tests. Pass all the tests like the Claude wrote with flying colors, but somehow Claude didn't catch the fact that Ethereum, the price of Ethereum was 0.0032 USDC. All right. So clearly some work needed to improve the test needed. But this is actually why, again, I think it's really important to have a maintainer for each exchange. I do plan on being, at least for now, the maintainer for the ones that are currently in the code base, which are, let's see, which are here, which are like Jupiter, Meteora, Radium, and Uniswap. To be honest, ideally I'm only maintaining one connector, and every other one is kind of being maintained by the community. But right now we actually have a lot more folks who want to add their connectors in. So at least for now, I want to try to standardize the ones we have here, make sure they actually work properly, and fix the bugs like the one that we just saw with Ethereum, with Uniswap, and then kind of make sure that we have documentation how people can add more. So that's why I don't want to rush things and create like really complicated strategies right away. But yeah, I want to start by ensuring that these basic scripts work. Next week, let's try to do the LP ones, and we'll try to do the same thing, but we'll try to automate adding and removing liquidity on AMM and CLM and CLAM. I hate saying that word. AMM and CLAM dexes. One question from a couple questions. One's from Borsa. Is there margin order sending in our bot, and which exchange is supported? Actually, we do not support margin order right now. I would say one thing is that's really only for sexes. We don't do that. For dexes, I think we eventually might start supporting perp dexes, and like the ones at Jupiter, for example, or Drift. But right now, I think the focus on Gateway is simply to support interacting with the basics on AMM dexes and concentrated liquidity dexes. So that means swapping and adding and removing liquidity. Eventually, that's also going to include other types of dexes like launch pads, for example. But at least for now, it's only Gateway will only be spot, and we'll just kind of just focus on the basic interactions. Because as you can see, just getting the basics right in terms of making sure that the tokens are correct, the node. We haven't even talked about kind of node connectivity. But a lot of those things are actually what you want to worry about. I would not recommend doing any type of complicated trading on dexes currently. Next one, GB, will you push the changes made in this live stream to the code base? Yes, I will push the changes to the Hummingbot PR after this, so that this will be on the Feet Gateway 2.6 branch. Okay, so yeah, that's where we are right now. Let's end things. I think that was almost 2 hours of live streaming, but I think we actually covered a lot. Hopefully, you have a better understanding of how the new gateway architecture works. You can interact with the endpoints in dev mode, and you can understand how to interact with them from Hummingbot as well, using these basic scripts. Tune in next week we'll do the same thing for the LP ones, and I think starting next week I'll start taking some questions from the audience in terms of like how to build some more customized strategies. And I think probably in the third week we'll actually start customizing and building sort of like more sophisticated strategies using Hummingbot and Gateway. However, I don't want to rush things too much. Today, I think we at least established that we can use Gateway to fetch prices and execute trades on a few different exchanges. So hopefully, hopefully that you can start playing around with that at least. Definitely try to play around with this AMM trade example one. I'll push in a bit. This is basically a limit order, so hopefully you can use it to try to see if it works, and you can kind of try to see if you can automate something on your computer running a bot. All right, everyone. Welcome. Well, yeah, sorry, not welcome. Thank you for joining, and I will see you next week.